Today is test day. Right now, she'll take my personal fitness certification exam with ACE. Woo. A lot of medical memorization. I have said my prayers. I asked others to say some prayers. I've studied to the best of my ability. I'm walking in confidence. The best that I have. I believe I am ready. Nothing more I can do. Just came from the exam and they post your results right when you finish. I passed! Boy, I used every second. That test was no joke. I will say, the first 20 questions, I was like, yeah, I got this. I know what I'm doing. Whew, well, I changed once you got into it, but I relieved I passed. Yes! Greetings and buenos dias. This is a two-part series. This is part one, the study process based upon the ACE Personal Trainer Certification, 5th edition. This is a study guide and collection of 10 beneficial tips and useful strategies to help you gain a better understanding of the ACE fitness comprehension, as well based upon immersing yourself into the fitness culture. Without further ado, let us commence. This became my most utilized resource, the ACE CPT exam prep. I purchased this from Amazon.com. At the same time as all this package came in, I also ordered this. It got put on the back burner, but the last 6 to 8 weeks, when I pulled it out and started using it, I used it all the time, and that was it. So much so that part two is dedicated just to this book. Give a brief summary about what's going on in here in this book. It's a concise study guide that highlights the key concepts required to pass. And so in the back, there's a useful reference page. There's a section just on acronyms in the back. Just the common acronyms, which was really helpful to have. The section just on formulas. I misplaced this piece of paper 3 or 4 times, so it was nice having all information in one spot. See, it's much smaller than the thick manual. It was easier to carry around. There's also practice questions in there, about 50, I believe. And what I really liked was that I was able to put all the same information about one topic in one specific location. For example, skin fold measurements. I wrote here, ACE practice test. I wrote down some information about that. Tape measure, use non-elastic. Another time for skin measurements on tests.com. It said always measure on the right side of measurements, 1 inch above the hip bone. So each time I got new information, I was able to add it in one spot and always have that same information in one spot. So when I opened it up, I would know where to find it. So I absolutely love this concise study guide. Absolutely brilliant. Without a shadow of a doubt. Take notes of other instructors who have passed. Get their feedback of what they did to pass the exam. I found that highly beneficial. About 2-3 months before the exam, I went in, watched 4 or 5 videos on the various instructors of what they did to succeed. One was even gave out their resources. They made a printout of the muscle imbalances and deviations, so I highly encourage you to continue to do that. absolutely brilliant book. Home Medical Dictionary. Loved this book. Simple, clear language, medical language. I found reading the ACE trainer manual very over the top with a lot of medical jargon and medical terminology. I wasn't able to quickly follow. I don't have a medical background, so it was difficult for me to simply follow. And when I did a Google search, YouTube search, if I looked on YouTube, video 1, not looking now, video 2, okay, 2 or 3 minutes, video 3, okay, that's better, Google search, image, okay, I have a better understanding now. But now it's been 15 minutes. I lost valuable time. So if I have to do that so often, I lost 15 minutes. I would lose 10 minutes here, 5 minutes here, 5. And so sometimes if I just needed to find definitions such as hypertrophy, you know, the increase in the cross-sectional size of a muscle in response to progressive resistance training. When I first started, cross-sectional, what? I didn't understand that, so I just needed something quick and easy of what's hypertrophy. And so I looked here, just an enlargement of a tissue. Okay, I know tissue, I know enlargement. An increase in the size. That's it. So that's all I needed to know to understand that first part. And so I found this incredibly helpful. And this was 1988, old edition, but it meant my knees to be able to pass the 2019 exam. So highly recommend Home Medical Dictionary. Anatomy of Fitness books. I found these books incredibly beneficial. I earned my group fitness certification with ACE about 2 years prior. At that point in time, I just earned my alternative teacher certification. I started the program. I went into teaching, so I had to put my fitness on hold. But I remembered when I started this personal trainer certification that these books were valuable. These books, the Anatomy of Fitness, they have a real human, and they have the computer-generated infographic on next to it. And the personal trainer certification, you had resistance exercises, a lot in the personal trainer world. So to give you an example, this was a squat and row exercise. And so it also shows you're seeing proper form, good alignment. And so right here, it shows what muscles are being engaged for that specific exercise. So right here, you can see the deltoids, you can see the biceps brachii, you can see the rectus femoris. And also, in addition to that, it shows a modification. So sometimes what you need to know about how to modify, how to regress, to make the technique easier or less difficult. So valuable, these books right here. I just happened to find these at Barnes & Noble on clearance special, so I bought up what they had. Highly recommended. Another way to immerse yourself into the fitness culture. Study smarter, not harder. Our time is so limited that we need to ensure we study to the best of our ability. And these type of books, these type of tips, the learn to remember tips are often already in the back of many of our own books, but we don't take them to heart and practice them. And so just being a teacher, the last few years I had a lot of these books lying around, so I took them to heart recently, and valuable tips I started putting to practical use. And another instructor who had passed the exam also mentioned the same thing, to find your own mnemonics, which both of these mentioned. Find your own mnemonic devices, such as like this one for the nutrition, your caloric intake. I was having trouble for some reason to remember which one was 4, which one was F, so I just remembered which one was 9. So PC was 4, F was 9. How to remember PC? I thought first popcorn and food for protein, carbohydrates, and fats, or personal computer and Firefox. So find a way, whatever you can, that will be beneficial to you. Equally around with that, for the ACE IFT, you're on the exam, this did happen, you're asked what happens first, or what happens before, or what happens next. You need to remember the order of both the cycles. And so the functional and movement cycle, for that, I saw SMMLP for stability and mobility, movement, load, performance. Oh, I noticed the combination of SMMLP. So SM for small, M for medium, L for large, P for pepper for food. So that was an efficient way for me to remember the functional movement right there. And for cardio, I just had A, beep. I was able to remember that effectively for myself. So. Make up your own mnemonic devices. Take those little tips in the back of the book, take them to heart. It is helpful. Wall chart of human anatomy. Absolutely loved it. I loved the large print, the large size. This was a gift that was given to me. My brother and several others saw me studying some medical terminology and some books. And so what I really liked about this was that often in the books, it would just have one section of the body that it would be talking about, maybe just the leg area. But it might be asking which muscle group is not involved, which muscle is not involved. And so if the tricep extension was being asked, oh, which muscle is not being engaged? If it said rectus femoris, I don't remember what that is. I could immediately find where that muscle was. And so that helped me save some time right there, seeing all muscles in play all at once, and seeing the muscles and the skeleton in play all at once. And of course, this was just in back, so I could quickly look up and go. I found this one, an Essential Atlas of Anatomy book in the children's section. It's a little bit more detailed, more like a teen's book, without being overly complicated, as some of the adult books are. It gives enough information to help me meet my needs. This one had joints right there, the joints that were asked, the elements of a mobile joint. I'm like, oh, perfect. So if you can find a effective anatomy atlas book, I highly recommend get one. It's useful and beneficial. This one was just on clearance special for $2. Can't beat that. Utilize all available ACE resources. This is the ACE Fitness Magazine. Wow, this was really helpful and beneficial. As the textbook is very detailed and complicated and scientific in its vocabulary and terminology, this here is light reading, full of pictures, and you get that repetition that's needed, that's vital. So right here, coaching rotation, using anti-rotation, right here, incorporate transverse plane. Transverse plane, yeah, okay. So now I just saw that connection, rotation, transverse plane. Like, okay, all right. So this was a big help going through these magazines, seeing the infographics. A lot of language. It's not so heavy on the mind and thinking. And again, going back to the study harder, not smarter, put the phone down before bed, and as you go in bed, you're able to be in a relaxed state. So I was relaxed, I was looking at function and form and seeing those words that I saw here in a very relaxed state and manner. Go through those sources, it's worth it. Continuing education credits with ACE, incredibly beneficial. When I took my group fitness certification, I'd also signed up for the ACE IFT, CEC, and a body and mind specialist course that I was unable to take until right before I took this one. So it got me in that mindset, that process, that mode of thinking of how the exam is written, and a little bit of pressure because you're under those conditions, but a little bit lighter atmosphere. So it puts you in that mindset. So just for that, it's worth it. Join an exercise program. Definitely worth it. The reason being is that in the exercise program, many instructors are using the vocabulary, the terminology that is being used right here. You'll hear, okay, today we're going to be working in our deltoids. Deltoids, it's this part of the area, right? And so what you just read about, you're physically doing it. You're internalizing that. For myself, I teach Zumba now 3 times a week. I was overseas teaching internationally for 17 years. For all 17 of those years, I was practicing martial arts as well. And so the awareness of body alignment is beneficial. So I know, it's like for Zumba, yoga, Tai Chi, they had those at churches. They're free. Some from are $2, $3, $5, cost effective. This is the time to join that gym or to do the trial membership. Sometimes they have a day free. Try our gym out for a day. Try our yoga class for a week free. Sometimes they're 2 weeks free. So this is the time to go out and do that and to immerse yourself right there into that fitness culture. Along with that, I was inside of a store and they spoke to the owner, one of the workers, and they knew that I was getting into personal training. And they said, oh, this for you. So I got P90X, very cheap. 10 videos. The reason I mentioned P90X is that the exercise names. And you hear bicep curl, or you hear full supination concentration curl. Full which is here. Instead of coming in right here for bicep curl, it's right here. It goes right here, that position. Or the Kangen curl. Comes up, comes down to a hammer. Like, oh, okay, all right. So you truly begin to internalize the exercises. And you're hearing about the alignment coming in. Oh, don't lean forward. It's be sure your back is aligned. You hear that language. And so then you begin to process that. So highly recommend join an exercise program. That makes the biggest difference of really immersing yourself into the fitness environment. Keep a food journal. Wow. This really helped me open up my eyes to the nutrition process and to some other aspects that I'd not seen before, certain connections I'd not seen. So by me keeping a food journal, I was able to add about 10 to 12 pounds. I added some leanness. I also joined at this point in time, the last 3-4 months, been going to Camp Gladiator. So by going through an intense fitness program and keeping a food journal, I was understanding how the food was being broken up and how it was being processed and how it was being used. And some of the trainers I went to, they were speaking about the caloric intake. And so for me to start keeping track of a daily diet, of what I'm taking in, eating a sensible breakfast, or even a snack before I go to 5 a.m. boot camp for Camp Gladiator. I have a little protein shake. I eat breakfast. I have a protein shake at lunch. I have my lunch either before or after. Then I have another protein shake or a mid-afternoon snack. I have lunch or dinner. Then I have another protein shake after dinner. So I was able to keep track of all my calories and what was being used. Was it an intensive day? Was it a light day? So I was able to make connections upon what I was eating and how intense I was working out, and if I was losing weight or not losing weight, if I was burning off more calories. I was able to make connections I had not made before by me physically going through the actions of keeping a food journal. So yet, this was another helpful and beneficial way to immerse yourself into that fitness culture, and another way to really understand the fitness, ACE fitness comprehension. Wonderful. I highly recommend it. In conclusion, I believe it's not any one thing that helped me lead to be successful on the ACE Personal Fitness Certification. It was the combination of all the elements of immersing myself completely into the fitness culture that led to my ability to be able to say I passed. Just from a martial arts standpoint. Being overseas for 17 years and returning back and having practiced martial arts for 20 years, it's important to build that foundation first before you begin to do any advanced techniques. So I believe same with this, build that strong foundation. Join a class, join Zumba, join yoga, join Tai Chi, go to the gym, really immerse yourself in it. And once I took a step back and didn't worry so much about the medical memorization and just really went in there, I was like, oh, okay, I'm beginning to see a turnaround. I was really concerned with all the medical terminology, but there is a learning curve, which you do need to learn some of the medical jargon and terminology that goes in with that. But once you take a step back and just immerse yourself and go and practice and just do, it starts to build upon itself. And so that's my biggest suggestion, is to really just immerse yourself into a fitness culture wherever you are as much as possible. That was a great benefit to me. Cannot say any more. Let us continue to encourage one another wherever we are. Go in peace.